Through these halls, where lovers get lost, and lust consumes the wicked. A place where reality collides with fantasy. In the pages, where romance is second to none. Welcome to the Lover's Library.
Hey lovers!
I'm Carly.
I'm Sydney.
And I'm Zoe.
Welcome back to the Lovers Library Podcast.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm not going to do the bow bow bow.
We have a book
But I did.
that is
Amazing!
the best.
So cute.
This is we're on a roll. We've got several good books in a row.
Three.
here.
Heck yeah, we did.
Yep.
3 that we all like.
Oh God, this next one's mine. It's gonna suck probably.
I hope not.
Good things come in 3s, so...
Well,
Us.
we'll see.
We're
Oh my
3!
God.
Hey,
You.
It's counting us.
Well, this book is You with a View by Jessica Joyce, and we are
In
recording this
Oh.
in a cabin
But yes.
with a view. And I don't know, some tractor or truck just drove by, so if you heard that,
What's up, tractor truck?
sorry.
What's up?
But this book was so good, and it was so fun that we got to read this book
Together.
together
Yes.
on this trip with beautiful views
I
and
loved
just outdoors.
like sitting outside and reading it. I was like, oh my God, this is where I'm
Yes.
meant to be.
It was so nice.
I was inside nice and warm and cozy
Yeah.
with the heater on.
and I was outside all day.
You were outside all day.
So, what's the scoop? This book was written by Jessica Joyce. She is a lifelong romance novel lover.
Yeah.
This is her first novel.
I
Really?
love
Yes.
a debut novel.
You
Yes.
did amazing.
Is that
job,
on our
girl.
bingo?
Oh, it might be.
I think on our November book bingo, a debut. I was gonna say album, a debut novel. I think's on it.
This is a great
Sweet.
debut
So
album.
hint. If you're filling out your bingo card, you got one. But she has another book that's coming out in 2024. It's called The X Vows. So excited to see
Ooh.
that. She's married and has a son, and they live
Aw.
in the Bay Area, hence the setting for our book.
Yeah,
Yep. Some fun facts. She too cries at cute animal TikToks.
Oh, I love that.
And she loves the 2005 Pride and Prejudice movie.
Yes.
Yes, girl.
We love. Okay.
Okay, you want to hang out?
Right. I'm just saying. Jessica.
She just check marked all of our boxes.
It doesn't take a lot to be in our group.
So this book is about Noelle Shepherd, and this girl is going through it. She was laid off from her job as an assistant photographer, and the passing of her beloved grandma has her just down in the dumps.
Mm.
She's living back at home, but after stumbling across some secret love letters of her grandma's, Noelle feels like she has something worth doing now. She's really invested in figuring out this love story. So after an exciting TikTok video, she's able to find the mystery man whom her grandma was in love with. And guess what? He's no one else but the grandfather of her high school enemy,
Mm.
Theo
Mm.
Spencer.
I love the name.
After
Theo.
agreeing to
Me
a
too.
road trip to unfold this mystery love story, Noelle and Theo find themselves in a classic enemies to lovers romance. So, lovers quarrel.
Girl, this book.
This was a great book. I loved their dynamic.
know
it. Together.
From the first page, I was invested.
Yeah.
I loved her instantly, just the way she was talking, and
I would be her friend. Like, there are some books where I would not be the character's friend,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
her, I would be her friend. Like, besties.
Yes.
I love that she like rambles on when she's nervous.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, no, but
Or she like
That's me.
word vomits. She says stuff and she's like, oh yeah, I shouldn't have said that.
I also feel like she was really emotionally aware. Like, there were some instances where she was, but that's because of grief.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that, like, everybody in this book was just really
yeah.
kind of emotionally healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I did mention that, like, I really liked some of the points that this book had
Mm-hmm.
that were good just for people to read and understand, like,
Yeah.
what you see isn't always what you get. You
Mhm.
think someone's life is perfect on the outside, but really, like, behind closed doors, is it all that perfect?
Right.
And then, like, just how they were physical with each other, but there was a further connection because of their emotional
Mhm.
and talking about things, not just
They were really good at that too.
yes. So I don't know.
Okay, so it jumps off by she made a video of the letter and the pictures that her grandma had stashed. Her grandma had just passed away, at least I think it was
6 months.
6 months
Mm-hmm.
from when she made that video, and she was rummaging through some of her boxes and found the pictures and the letter. And in the letter, it basically said it was from the man and Paul, and it was like, it's okay if we don't get eloped or whatever. And what did it say?
Did it talk about? I don't think it talked about them getting married.
Yeah, it did. Because that's why she was so invested. She was like, how? Okay, here we go. Dearest Kat, I understand why we can't elope. I truly do. I just want you to be well. The end of our relationship won't stop me from loving you for the rest of my life. I don't know if that helps or hurts. The only thing I ask is that you remember what we promised each other. Never forget our time together and think of it with happiness. I promise you it'll be okay. Do you remember? And it will. Yours always, Paul.
Oh,
I love Paul.
My God.
so Noelle makes a video
Yeah.
of this letter, and there's a few pictures that were involved, and she puts together this like amazing, just touching video with music and all the stuff, and she puts it on TikTok, and it goes viral.
Yeah.
And
Quickly.
she finds that someone comments, and they're like, "That's my grandpa."
Mm-hmm.
And so she's super excited. Her brother Thomas is
Mas?
wonderful.
Mas?
Mas. He's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
He's
I was
so
like,
great.
Holy cow,
I
this is a
loved him and Sadie.
great brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Sadie's his girlfriend, which they're gonna get married. We already know, so it's whatever.
Yeah. Is there a second book?
Yeah, we want more about them.
She
But
had another book, though, before the one that you said. It was on her Instagram.
because when I was looking her up, I did not see any other books.
It might have just came out. A Risk Worth Taking.
Oh,
But it wasn't about them, though.
Oh,
okay.
dang.
So
I know.
Write a book about Thomas and Sadie.
Yeah, I want to know how they
Yeah.
got together. Because that seems like a friends to lovers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
they met in college.
But
Anyways.
Thomas and Sadie were friends before. They were like together before
Yeah.
Noelle and Sadie became best friends.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so Thomas is like, you gotta meet this guy. Like, do it, go for it, do it. You're not doing anything here. You're just
Mm-hmm.
working. Like, go meet this guy. So
She's not working.
not working.
Yeah.
Sorry, she's just moping.
Yeah.
In
for
her
real.
mom's Peloton room.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she are they stopping here?
No.
Okay.
You're good.
There's a car driving by. So yeah, she posts the video. The guy says, "That's my grandpa." They agree to meet. So she's walking up to meet them, and who does she see?
She sees Paul first. And they
And
make eye contact.
Paul said, his face said, "Oh my God, do you know who this is?"
Yeah.
Yep. And she saw Theo, and she's like, "What are you doing here?"
Spencer.
And he's like, "This is my grandpa. What are you doing here?" And she's like, "That was my grandma." And so they
was
start
funny.
their, we get to see their relationship kind
One
for
thing
tat.
From the
I
past.
loved about the book is they always could feel the other one's presence.
I
It
love
said
when books
that
say that.
a lot, and
Yeah.
I love that.
Can y'all feel like if your husbands come in the room, can you like feel like when they come inside the room?
Yeah, we've been at like a house party or whatever, and if I can't find Peyton, like I can feel where he is, and then I can just like go to wherever I think he is.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Adam and I are in the grocery store, we just whistle at each other. Like, we'll whistle, and that's how we find each other.
That's cute.
really cute.
But yeah, no. There's a connection, definitely. It's something special when you find the person.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mhm.
these two were fighting it for a real long time.
Oh,
But when we figure out later, I don't think Theo was fighting it at all. He liked her from the get-go.
Yeah, she
Even
just
in high
didn't see
school.
it.
And she just thought it wasn't possible. Like, he's just picking on me.
Mm-hmm.
I
But
think he was in love in high school because
I do too.
Oh yeah.
even Paul, the grandpa, was like, whenever Theo would come to the summer with him,
Mm-hmm.
he would like talk about
Talk
this
about
girl.
her.
Yeah.
And Paul kind of said that it wasn't always bad, that like the things that he said about her.
Yeah.
And I love that so much.
Yeah. So, they have their first little meeting, and Paul's like, well, there's a lot of letters and a lot of things I want to go through, and I want to do this right. And so can you come over for lunch one day and we'll start to unpack this?
He's a little sneaky.
He is. I love him.
But I love it because I feel like he knew she was needing that grandparent connection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because at this point, this was her favorite grandparent that had passed away, but I don't think she had any more.
No, all of them.
All of her
passed
grandparents
away.
had passed away, so she didn't have any more grandparents around, and that relationship was so special to her.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he realized she had that need too. So they schedule another date, and
it was just supposed to be her and Paul.
And sneaky little Paul.
He's like, oh, I got my days mixed up.
Theo was there working in the garden
with his shirt off.
And I have this. Where did it go?
Okay, did you highlight how it described him? Me too.
She said she finds him in the garden working with his t-shirt off, and she said, "It's fucking rude that he's so good looking. It offends me." I'm like, that is so funny. I loved it.
Speaking of highlights, I highlighted like half of this book.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
I loved all of the things.
So I wish I would have had this on Kindle because I would have been.
Mm-hmm.
There was like several things that. That's the thing about having a physical copy. It's because I really don't like to write in my books.
That's why you get the little tabbies like me.
But then I don't know exactly what I'm tabbing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, so I also make notes in my notepad, and I'll type out what I want, and then I'll type what page number it is, and then I go back and kind of like tab it from there. And I do it different every time. I haven't figured it out yet, but
yeah. When I was like in high school, we would always write notes because you're annotating. You're annotating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's illegal to write in a book. I don't do that.
With those books, I'm okay with it because I'm never gonna read them again.
Textbooks.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be writing notes to other people and be like, the answer is not this.
Right.
Well, let's get back to Paul.
Oh, sorry.
Paul and Noelle.
Paul. And he's a photographer as well.
Yes, so she walks through the house and she sees all these beautiful pictures, and then she sees one of Theo, and she's just like, it's just a beautiful, wonderful picture of Theo, a younger Theo.
Mm-hmm.
But
the one she remembers from high school.
Yeah. So they get there. They're having lunch. Paul's revealing more information. And I believe at that point he brings out the map.
It was in the box with.
It was in the box, and Theo and Noelle immediately freak out because they're like, honeymoon road trip. What the hell are you talking about? You guys were gonna get like what? And so Paul tells this story like we had planned on getting married. Her parents weren't approving of me and all this stuff, and so we couldn't find a way out to make it work. So we were just gonna elope and then go on this like wonderful trip.
Yeah.
So I wrote down the trip. Some of the places they mentioned.
Okay.
They said Yosemite, Zion National Park, the Grand Canyon, Sedona, and more. And she said her grandma had like little things circled and wrote out where she wanted to go and all these things. So it's just like beautiful.
Let me give you a little bit of a backstory on Kathleen, which is the grandma who passed away, and Paul. So they met in college at UCLA, and what's the girl name? Noelle. I couldn't remember.
Beans.
Yeah, Beans.
So cute. So she didn't know that she was in college because her grandmother always talked about when she went back to school after her kids were.
Yeah, she went back later in life is what they kept mentioning.
Yeah, but she never mentioned that she went to school earlier in life. So they met there. They fall in love. They were actually enemies to lovers before her
just
and
like
Paul.
their grandkids.
Yeah. And then they started sending messages to each other during class and all this, fell in love. And that was back in the 50s.
Yeah, I remember specifically one letter was written in 1957. I don't know why I didn't pay attention on any of them, but like for some reason that sticks out to me. That one was written in 1957.
Right. So Kathleen, or Kat, her parents and her brother were like super not accepting of Paul and Kathleen was really close to her family. So she goes back home for winter break, and they were going to plan on when they come back to school after the break to elope. But you could tell, like, in the letters that she was sending to Paul, that was just not going to happen. Like, she was losing kind of the faith.
Well, and also at one point, she did introduce him to
Yeah,
her family.
and
They
it
had
did
planned
not
to
go
meet
well.
up, and his parents came, and her parents and her brother were there, and they all, like, the whole family, everybody met, and it
Blew up.
Like, they were arguing about stuff and fighting, and they were like, this guy is not for you. And so that's what started the whole, it switched to, they were like, Paul already thought, why don't we just get married and run off? But he didn't say it because he knew how important her family was to her.
Right.
But when it was her choice, when she brought it up, he was like, yeah, I'm all for that.
It was so sad
They even
reading
got their
her
marriage
letters
license.
from like how excited she was to, I don't know how this is going to work, to, I don't think this is going to work.
Yeah.
Please reassure me. It was
Can you imagine
heartbreaking.
how hard that decision would be to make?
Especially
to leave
in
your
that
family
time.
Like,
or
if
to
you-
leave someone you love.
If,
Yeah.
like, knowing how much I love Adam and having to pick between him and my family, like,
I
don't know how she came to that conclusion of leaving him. Like,
It would be so
it would be hard.
difficult, especially in that time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, she was even like,
She relied
You-
heavily on her family.
family or
too.
your husband. And that was kind of the vibes back then anyways.
Mhm.
And she picked her family. So after that, they split up, and Paul meets Anne, I think that's her name. And it was a volatile relationship, but they have a son from that
Mhm.
relationship.
Which is Theo's
Yeah.
dad.
Spencer's dad. And they break up, and then he marries
Vera.
Vera, and he is married for her for 23
And
years.
she's
It's a
the
beautiful
one.
Yeah,
relationship.
that's his person.
Mm-hmm.
And then for Kathleen, after she broke up with Paul, I think it was a couple years later, she met Joe. And that is the beautiful 60-year relationship that she
Mhm.
had. That is one reason why Noelle wouldn't tell her dad
Mhm.
about the letters and the pictures to begin with, because she
was
like
worried it would
secretly
hurt
made the
him.
TikTok and didn't tell her family, and Thomas like happened upon it.
Yeah.
And because she was like, I don't want this to ruin how my dad viewed my parents' relationship, or
Well, I think she was. I think she was mostly worried about his grief because she knew how hard she was taking it.
Yeah.
And she knew he was even worse. And she was like, I don't want to reopen that wound when he's starting to heal. So let me just figure this out, and then I'll talk to him about it. Like, she wanted to get it all figured out before she brought it up.
And
to
I
him.
mean, it did seem like this big, huge secret because at one point she did ask her dad, like, oh, did Grandma ever have anyone else? And he
Mhm.
said no, it was always Grandpa Joe.
Mhm.
yeah.
So then you're like, oh my God, my grandma been keeping secrets.
Right. But okay, that was another thing. So Grandma Cat and Noelle were super, 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 super close.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was such a beautiful relationship to highlight throughout the book.
Mm-hmm.
And one little game that they played was Tell Me a Secret.
I love that because I do that.
Do you?
Yeah.
It was so stinking cute. And
Mm-hmm.
so, like, every time they got together, they would say, Tell me a secret, and one of them had to tell a secret. But this secret never came up. Ever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
It
there's
just
that.
wasn't. It didn't fit the conversation probably.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But well, let's
So
go
then-
into it. So Paul is
Yeah.
amazing. We love Paul.
He's so cute.
And so they meet up. They see this map. They have a few more discussions. And in the back of Noelle's head, she's like, "Okay, my grandma left me this money. She said that I'm only allowed to use it for something that I'm passionate about. Like,
Yeah.
it's only for that. Like, I can't use it for anything else." And she's like, "I don't have a job. Nothing's panning out. Why don't I just go on this trip?
Mm-hmm.
I think grandma would approve of that. I'm just going to use this money and go on this trip."
Mm-hmm.
And take
And
pictures.
so, yeah, and take pictures. And so she meets up with Paul again. And,
With Thomas and Sadie the second time.
Mm-hmm.
oh, yes, they were there.
Mm-hmm.
And so she goes and she's talking to him about it. And she's like, "I want to go on this trip." and it was just Paul and Sadie and Thomas. Theo wasn't there yet.
No.
And they're talking, and she's like, I want to go on this trip. And she's like, can I take the map? And he's like, oh, yeah, that's fine if you take me with you.
Mm-hmm.
And so Paul's like, I want to go on this trip too.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my gosh, like, absolutely. Like, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And then Theo comes in and he's
Busted.
pissed off because he's on the phone with his work and he's just like, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, what are you guys doing here? Like, he's almost like, you're always here. This is my grandpa.
Right.
Like,
Stealing my grandpa. Stop it.
and so grandpa is like, yeah, I'm going on this trip with Noelle. And Theo's like, the hell you are.
Right. You
He's
not
like,
about to
you're
hurt my
old.
grandpa.
What are you doing? You can't be trotting around. What are you? And so finally Theo comes around to it and he's like, okay, fine. Like, I'll go with you guys. Like, you can't go without me. Like,
Right.
I need to go with my grandpa.
For sure.
Because Theo and Paul's relationship was exactly like Noelle
And Kat.
and Kat.
Yeah.
Like, they were just so close. They were literally replicas of their grandparents.
Literally, bro.
They were the younger versions
Literally.
of their grandparents, and I loved that. But so they get on this trip. They're getting ready to go on this trip, and
Wait, can I let me preface this by saying that for Theo's little backstory, him and his dad have a really volatile relationship. Like, dad has so high of an expectation of Theo
Mhm.
that it's just not. You
Yeah.
can't do it. Like, it's never gonna work.
I did mention that too. I said that Noelle was always so perceptive of Theo and his father's relationship.
Yeah.
It was like he would win a match, but he missed a serve, and his dad would pull him off to the side and be like, like
Right.
lecturing him about it. Like,
About the one bad thing.
the outcome was wonderful, but you still messed up, or
Right.
that just wasn't good enough.
Right. And Theo has a multi-million-dollar company along with two other friends, Anthony and Mateus.
Mhm.
And it's a budget travel website.
Like plan your trips for you, I think.
Yeah.
It's like a package deal.
What are we doing next? What is it?
So what's
Where we-
next? Where to next?
Where to next?
Mm-hmm.
And there seems to be something happening
With
with
that
the
company.
business. And he is the CFO.
Mhm.
So he's pretty high up there. He's got some money and he's doing pretty good.
Got
but-
some stress.
Yes, but he is like always on the phone, either with his dad, like badgering him about what's happening,
Mhm.
or his co-owners talking about like
the plan.
the plan. And
Something's happening, but we just don't know.
yeah, at this point in the book, the beginning, we don't know.
Yeah.
But Noelle always brings up like, you were in Forbes under 30 under Thor 30 or whatever.
Yeah, Forbes 30 under 30.
All the time, and he always gets mad or like
He
closes
like
off.
shuts down immediately when she does it.
Yeah.
But I think that that just brings up what I had said earlier. I said I love how this book really brings out the truth of what you see isn't always what you get.
Yeah.
Like perfect pictures of beautiful people or a happy family or wonderful vacations. Like, just because that looks so good doesn't mean it's always so good on
For
the
sure.
inside. So like for her, she was seeing him in this magazine and she's like, he's successful, he owns a business, he has lots of money, like everything's perfect for him, he doesn't have any problems. And on the inside, he's like literally dying.
Right. Yeah.
Like he's like, the joy is being sucked from my life.
right.
Yeah,
I don't see a way out kind of vibes.
Yeah. And he's like, and I'm just gonna take it by myself and figure it out. But
Which I'm also the same way. Like, I'm just gonna make it. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm not gonna ask for help.
I'm an oversharer, so I have no option but to talk about it because it just spews out of me.
I bottle things up until I snap.
Yeah. I'm a verbal processor, but I like to verbal process by myself.
Oh my god.
And then when I've talked it through logically, then I'll talk to somebody else about it.
Yeah.
I like to have all my thoughts together.
Okay, Theo.
Right. Yeah. Okay, Theo. Well, okay, so
I really, related to him a lot in this book, actually.
So they plan on this trip, and Theo and Sadie were there, so they saw the connection between.
Thomas.
Oh, I loved their bet.
Oh yeah, Thomas and Sadie saw the connection between Noelle and Theo, and they were like, "Y'all are gonna do it."
What's the bet?
It's not okay.
3 days,
Thomas
10
said
days.
3 days before they have sex. Sadie said 10 days, but then they made a side bet And Sadie said, oh no, they're going to fall in love and like this is going to last. And when it does, Thomas, you owe me the, it was like a blue velvet couch that she had been like really wanting.
Yeah.
And they're like, deal. So that's on the background and Noelle knows about it. So she's like, first of all, that's never happening. But then when things kind of start to become interesting between the two, she's like,
oh, that's happening.
It might happen, but we're going to make it last after the bet so that they don't win.
Right.
So Paul really knew, like from the get-go,
I just
that this was going to happen.
I love Paul so much.
So he was really like setting it up and like just really making sure everything was just right. They go on the trip. Paul's like, I'm going to give you a letter every day and we'll just kind of go through it. This is a 2-week trip. And they set off. And Theo is so protective over her.
He
He sure is.
He was protective, but not in like a really aggressive, annoying way.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the first things that happens was she was trying to get a picture and she wanted to get like really close
I love
to
this
the
part.
edge.
Yes, me too.
Like she just couldn't quite get the right angle and she ended up tripping and falling
Mm-hmm.
down like a little ledge. And Theo like
had a heart
ends up-
attack.
grabs her and saves her, but they both end up kind of like falling a little bit, I
Mhm.
think. And she scrapes her knee up.
Oh, but go to the bathroom scene. Go to the bathroom.
And so they leave, like they immediately leave after that, and they take her home and back to the hotel. And he like storms into her room, and he's like, "Take your pants off," and she's like, "What?" And he's like, "Your leggings are already ruined. I can't get to your knee to help you clean it. You need to take your pants off." And she's like, "Ugh,
Lead
okay,
with that, sir. Lead
fine."
with that.
And so he helps her get cleaned up, which I did mention this in my third date section, so
There were so many really good third
Yeah.
date
it was one of
sections.
my favorites for a third date, so we'll
Me
just kind
too.
of leave it at that.
Okay.
So I just really was worried the entire time that something was going to happen to Paul. So like
I
right
know.
before
I thought he
she
was gonna
fell,
die.
I was like, oh my God, is Paul going to fall? Is Paul going to get hurt? Like, is he going to have a heart attack? Like something has to happen. And I don't know what it is going to be. And please don't let it be to Paul. I was just so worried, but
Honestly, before they went on the trip, I thought Paul was going to be like, I want to go on the trip. And then he was going to die. And then that's why Theo went on the trip with him.
Oh,
my
yeah.
gosh.
I'm very glad that didn't happen.
right.
Paul's a smart guy. He knew
Thank
when
you.
he
He
knew his
knew what he
boundaries.
was doing.
Thank you, Jessica, for not killing off Paul.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
for
love
I'm
real.
pretty
Paul.
sure Paul's going to be, spoiler alert, the officiant at their wedding.
That'd be so
Oh
sweet.
my God, that'd be so cute.
That's what I was thinking was going to happen. But so, okay, let's see. So that happens. They keep going another night. They go to Vegas.
Let's talk about Vegas.
Yep. So he texts her.
Should we just go to third date?
Oh, there's so much more to talk about. I'm almost there.
Okay, we're not gonna have time because this was okay. If you really want to know all the nitty gritty details about this book, I know it's Smash or Pashes at the end, but this is a really good
Highly
book,
recommended.
full of like these small tiny moments of
Mm-hmm.
like intimacy, not like sex intimacy, but like relational intimacy that
Yeah.
we won't be able to describe.
My heart was like swelling.
It was.
I was just so happy.
I was getting nervous
Yeah.
at some points. I was
Yeah.
getting exhilarated at some
I was
points.
sad.
Yeah.
I cried.
I was almost at the brink.
Okay. So in Vegas, he invites her down to the bar, and that's when things kind of change between their relationship. They're both feeling more physical towards
Hot
each other,
heavy.
and they're realizing they like each other.
Yeah.
So things start to progress. And honestly, it's really funny. Finally, it happens. They hook up. They're together. He's sneaking in and out of her room at the different stays. Like,
They don't have sex, but they kiss.
but yeah, I just mean like they're together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I was laughing so hard when Paul figures out, because he like comes to the door and he knocks and he's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, Noelle, I'm making coffee and eggs. Do you want some?" And she's like startled because Theo's literally laying right there with her. And she's like, "Oh, that'd be great. I'll be out in a bit." And then he goes, "Oh, and Teddy," that's what he calls Theo. Teddy, I know how you like your eggs, so don't worry, I'll make yours just for you. So Paul's like, I know, you guys can't trick me.
Right.
I was young once too.
That's why we're on this whole trip.
Right. So I was just so happy that he found out, and he was happy, and everything was like good after that. But I was just so annoyed throughout the book with Theo and his work stuff and his dad. I was just like,
give us some boundaries, Theo.
like,
Come on.
Yeah. But in the end, he finally did, and that was nice to see. But I was just really proud of how they took I don't know what I did. Oh, they took the time to feel out their emotions,
Mm-hmm.
and then they came back to talk. So after it's all said and done, they make it back home. Theo and Noelle are a couple, and all is good and dandy. Well, then Theo takes some time to go to work, and his company basically like boots him out.
Literally.
And she doesn't know because he didn't tell her until she gets an alert on her phone that has the article on it. And she's like, oh my gosh, like he's probably so upset. Let me go find him and help him.
And it was the night she was going to tell her dad about the videos.
Yeah.
And he comes in the door and he's like,
he found
Noelle,
the videos.
Beans, what is this? And she's
Yes.
like, I have to, I was going to tell you this tonight, but I need to go with my boyfriend, my friend.
And she's like, my boyfriend. She's like, I'm dating Theo.
Yeah.
And then he needs me.
Yeah. And so she like runs out. The dad is so supportive. Like I loved him so much. He reminds me of if my dad was in this book, my mom doesn't do the Peloton. But I feel like our family relationship is a lot like theirs.
Yeah.
I love that.
He was very understanding and like just so sweet. So she runs off to him and she finds him. He's very depressed. She's trying to talk to him about it. Yeah, she's like trying to break through those walls to get to him, and he's just like, no. And finally it ends on like in a kind of a bad way. Like he's like, I just need to be alone. Like I don't need anybody to help me through my issues, you know? And she's like, okay, well, where I'll be when you need me.
I was waiting for this part. Every romance book has like a climax and then an issue.
Yeah.
And we didn't have that.
Everything has to be perfect and then it all has to burn.
Yeah. And this happened around like chapter 25. And it's a 33 chapter book. So it happens right at the end.
Yeah, I was like, is this going to end with them broken up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was waiting for the breakup or like for the big issue that causes this rift. And it happens late.
But they were just, I don't know. I just liked how this part processed because
me too.
He said, I need time. She said, okay. Did she want to give him time? No.
But she did.
She went her own way. She didn't bother him. She didn't like pester him. But she, out of this whole trip and her videos that she was posting during the trip, she got a job in Lake Tahoe to take some pictures. So she's like,
this is my favorite part.
I know,
I'm just going to go. She's like, I'm going to go do this trip, focus on me. He'll be there, you know?
Good job, girlfriend.
And so she did her trip and she went there and I was just said, I knew Theo would show up at that hotel.
I was hoping.
I was waiting for it.
Wait, so set it up. Okay, let me set it up.
Okay.
So, it's the last night that she's about to go home the next day, and he hasn't texted her, and for a while, for a couple of weeks, or days, I don't remember exactly the time period.
It was just a couple days.
And she texted him and it's like, I'm going, we could talk when we get back. And it's the day that, like, the evening before she leaves, and she was like, I'm just gonna text him. And so she texts him, basically her love letter, basically to him.
Mm-hmm.
And the next, she's like packing all of her stuff in her
She's
bag.
like, I'm just gonna leave now.
Yes.
It's a 3.5 hour
Yeah,
drive.
you have 3.5 hours to decide if you're gonna open the door.
That's
or
what
not.
she says in her text message to
Mm-hmm.
him. And she hears a knock at the door, and she opens it, and there's our boy.
Did he knock, or she was just busting out to leave because she ran right into him?
I don't know.
I don't think he knocked.
I think he didn't have time to knock because I think she was coming out at the exact same time and just ran right into him.
And he read the messages when he got to the hotel.
So he knew what he was coming into.
Yeah.
So he had good things to say. She had good things to say. They wanted to be together. Now, this is the part I appreciate. Okay. most of the time, two people that have a very like physical connection, when stuff like that happens, they're like, oh, we're together. And then they just, boop, sex.
Yeah.
These two were like, I think he may have kissed her, but he was like, let's go talk. Can we talk?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I was like, thank
this
you.
part was like the best part of the
So
whole
he takes her to
book.
the couch. They sit down. He lays out all these pictures that Paul had taken
Oh,
the entire
it was-
time.
I like
'Cause
almost
Paul
cried at
Yeah,
this part.
who knew?
Paul
I wish
knew.
that there would have been pictures like
Right.
That's
put
what I was
in the book
thinking,
so I could
too.
see them.
I was like,
If
I wanna see
anybody
these
has
pictures.
fan art of what you think those pictures look like,
Send them because
but
I
she
that
want
or
to
the
see.
proposal ones
She
too.
also described it so well
She
that I
did.
feel like I could
Yeah.
see them in my own head.
It was amazing.
And
It
I
was
remember
beautiful.
those moments. Like I remember the
Yeah.
moments that she was talking about.
So they talk, and they were able to like both, express their feelings, get it all out, and they're like, we want to make this work. Like, I want to be your person, and he's like, and I want you to be my person. Like, you are my person. And they did. They worked it out.
Mhm.
But this is a little bit before that. But I loved how both of them went to Paul during that rough time
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
a little talk,
Yeah.
And then
I
they
was like-
pass each other.
Yeah, they passed each other on their way to Paul. But so I just love all of this. And then you go fast forward, so they're together now. Everything's fine. She knows he has to process things differently than other people, and that's okay.
It takes him 3 days,
Yeah.
3 times longer
Yep.
to process all of his feelings.
And so fast forward, like the last chapter is like a year and a half later, and they have been on a trip for like 13 weeks or something like that, all over the place.
Italy, yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
And they get home, and he's been like anxious the whole time, and I'm like, girl, you're dumb. How'd you not know?
Yeah, for real.
How'd you
I
not
didn't
know?
I didn't know.
Oh,
Okay,
I knew.
I kind of didn't know.
I knew the second they walked in and he said that the family had been there and he wasn't letting her up the stairs. I was like, I kind of just pictured it like a big setup that says like, will you marry me?
Yeah.
Not as romantic as what it
Oh my god,
actually
he did
was.
so good.
So
Ugh.
he goes, I know you've been wanting these pictures on the wall replaced for a while. So I went ahead and just like picked out some that I thought you would like. And
He's
the
so
family
cute.
came, everyone came and helped replace the pictures. And so they go up there and she starts looking through all the pictures and they're beautiful and she's loving all of them, just reliving every moment. And then she gets to the middle and there's 4 pictures and they're of him and her. Each one is a different kind of way, but in all of them, he is holding a different piece of paper
Mhm.
That says
will you
marry
marry me?
there
And
wasn't
then
a
the-
me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
there
had
was.
it in one hand.
Mhm.
And he had the paper
Oh.
in one hand.
I was
and then
reading
in
it
the
so
other,
fast.
he was holding. That's what I'm saying, you guys. Then he read had
was so
the other
excited.
one with his hand. He was holding it. And she's like, how did you even do this? And he goes, it took a lot of planning. He had like found people
Uh-huh.
either ahead of time or just moments before to take the picture and then send it to
And
him.
what I liked was that in
Mm.
all 4 of those pictures, he was looking at the camera, but she wasn't.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was like a sweet moment between
yeah,
them.
like,
Yeah.
and he was hiding it. It
Yeah.
was so beautiful. And so they got married, or like they're going to get married.
They're
Yeah.
engaged
That was
now.
the end. So
It's so cute.
it was really good. And Paul's alive. Paul did not die.
He survived
Paul
the
did
whole
not
book.
get hurt.
This is not a Disney movie.
Nothing happened to Paul.
But
You know-
in the acknowledgments,
I didn't read that
Jessica Joyce, the author, she talks about her grandmother and how she started writing and things. And so I just thought that was really sweet.
Oh
So I think I should read the acknowledgments too.
I do
I'm
like,
going
and
to.
then just throw out there like, what her videos that she posted on TikTok really inspired people to like reach out to their family. So
Yeah.
this is your moment to like reach out to your grandparents if you still have them,
Yeah.
because you never know how long.
It's the holiday
Or
season
just
too.
anybody you're
It was
thinking
so
about.
cute.
We just talked about this last night though. I said if I ever just randomly think of someone,
Mm-hmm.
I text them
Mm-hmm.
no matter
were
what,
talking about
and
that last night.
I'll just say, hey, I've been thinking about you, I miss you, I love you, like I just wanted to say hi and see how you're doing.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
Just if you think it, just do it.
Just do it.
But
Also, side note, future husband, if you're listening to this, you can copy and paste this and-
proposal.
yes.
Thank you. I thought of you when I read it too, because I was like, I knew you wanted the museum proposal, but I was like, this is better.
If you had the final shot in a museum gallery, that would be great.
Okay. I'm taking notes for Sydney right now.
Oh my gosh.
But wait, I was thinking something else about that. I forgot.
You ready for third date? Because I'm ready for third date.
Let's do it.
So back to the knee scraping.
Wait, I want to say one thing before that.
Okay.
There was a psychic.
Yeah.
And I loved that so much
I was like,
because
that's random, but okay.
but she was spot on.
She was.
And
aren't they all?
Noel was like kind of upset that he was so skeptical and didn't believe it, but in his head he was like, damn, that girl knew what was up.
Yeah, I think
She
that's
did.
why he tipped her so much.
Yeah.
Because she ended up
$200.
doing it for free. 'Cause she's like, oh no, don't worry about it. She's like, I could
She could
feel
feel
you
their
guys.
chemistry.
Like, she's like, I wanted to do it. I was curious.
She said it was a selfish read.
Yeah, and their love was like generations long, and I was like,
Yeah. Yep. So for third date, do we want to go to the knee scrape scene?
Yeah,
You can
I
do
was.
it.
Do you think it's like 3 peppers out of 5? I'd say
Yeah.
probably 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty good. I loved the count. I love a good counter talk. Put me up on the counter.
Talk?
Mm-hmm.
Put me up
Oh.
on the by the sink.
Mm-hmm.
Just come on up here. Let's have a little talk.
Literally.
If you lift me up, it's gonna be good. That's
Yeah.
like it doesn't matter if it's a conversation, doesn't matter if it's sex, it's whatever it is, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, and if I'm up on the counter,
Yeah.
it's just you'll know. You'll get there, girl. First time you ever
Looking
get
at
put
me?
on a counter, it's gonna be good.
I just hoist myself up there so I can get dishes that are higher than I can get.
Oh my gosh. But okay, and then we talked about Vegas a little bit, how they meet at the bar.
Wait, we didn't talk about what happens with the knee scrape. We didn't go into detail. Do we want to go into detail about the...
What's more into detail? They were getting spicy. They were starting to think about kissing each other, and she like grips his shirt and pulls him closer to her.
What the conversations
then
that
Paul
your
comes
lips
in.
are like grazing, and there's so much chemistry and tension.
It's like sparking.
And he had a spot on the back of her neck.
Oh yeah.
Oh, my
he
God.
goes, when your hair's up in a ponytail, I always
I
want
highlighted a part where she says that it was his and no one could ever like touch her there again.
Mm-hmm.
that gives me
Oh.
Colleen Hoover vibes.
I know. I was thinking where she has the heart tattoo. God.
You tried to say. but
Okay,
you
give me another
remembered.
spicy.
Okay, so then in Vegas, she meets him at the bar, and she wears this like sexy dress, and she's like, the entire walk up here, I could feel him looking me from head to toe. Like he was really taking her all in.
Mm-hmm.
But they go back up to the hotel room. He walks her to her room because it's like a really long hallway and he doesn't want her to go by herself. And they're like kissing up against the door, and she's like, we can't. They make their rules.
Yeah.
They're like, this is it. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. We're kissing and that's it. And I'm going to my room.
Mm-hmm.
And so there were just so many delicious scenes.
It was
Mhm.
But it wasn't like...
Well, the dry
Classless.
humping
It was
had
really
me
good.
laughing.
Yeah.
I was like, we're adults here. You're really dry humping each other because of a bet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on. Just do it.
They had this like little two finger joke,
Oh, yeah. That was funny.
That was hilarious.
and I just kept giggling at that. And then finally he was like, you never said if 2 fingers would be enough to satisfy you. And she's like, I'll let you know in the morning. And close the door. I was
Yeah.
like, dang, girl.
Yeah, that
they
was
were
so funny.
spicy wise.
They were.
Ugh.
They're flirty.
Mm-hmm.
I did love how they experienced all the feels with their intimacy. And we've talked about this
Mhm.
before about the panty slide, how I don't like it
Mm-hmm.
when it's the first time.
Mhm.
Because I feel like the first time you're making this connection and it needs to be like intentful and
Mhm.
purposeful. Like you're choosing this, you're taking your time to like explore each other and be with each other kind of
Mhm.
thing. And when it's like fast like that, I don't like it for the first time. And I loved how they had all the feelings. Like they were slow, fast, frantic,
Mhm.
loving. Like I said, you need that slow love to savor your partner and to make it more. And I loved that she included both. Like
Mhm.
when that connection's there, every time is special regardless of the pace.
Mhm.
And so
And
I just loved how she kind of
Even just in the makeout scenes, they were like that too. Like
Mhm.
she would say he kissed her lightly and it was tender, and then it was like they were hungry for each other. And
yeah.
God, I love a good makeout scene.
Yeah.
Very,
I liked when
very
he put his
much.
hand on her like her chest, like right below her
Yeah.
throat, and she was like, "What are you like fighting the urge to choke me?"
Oh, I love this
Yeah.
part.
And then
He
I
was
was
like, I just want to feel your heartbeat
Yeah.
for me.
But then my side, I was like, a little light choking never hurt anyone.
But then, like, when she put her hand on his chest, it was like, that's all he needed. And I was like,
yeah.
Jessica.
Jessica, girl, you know how to write a book.
She got me.
Yes.
I was hooked from the beginning.
I'm going to read all of your books.
I do want to read one paragraph because it kind of ties into everything I've said. She said, it's not just the sex for me either, even though that part is the best I've ever had. It's all of it.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been less able to distinguish the emotional connection from the physical one. With Theo, one thing feeds the other. The sex is so good because the emotional connection gets stronger every day. The more he shares with me, the more I want him. And the more he touches me, the more secrets I want to reveal.
And that's what we need in every romance book.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm okay with a slow burn, honestly, because it builds the story to the climax of, the climax.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But when it is like so hot and heavy to begin with, it kind of, I don't know if it's a bit of a turn off for a book, a little bit.
When that's all there is, it's like
There's no substance to it.
anybody could write this.
Yeah.
Anybody, like, why don't we just go watch porn? Like, we need more, you know?
Mhm.
Like, you want that emotional connection. And that's where we come from. We're readers.
Right, exactly. I want a story.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but the only other thing I had was that we got our good pick her up and throw her around. When he picked her up and threw her in bed, I was like, yep, that's what I needed.
There was no rain in this book.
And then I said, chef's kiss. It was all perfect.
It was
My only complaint, I had said this yesterday, was that on the cover art of the book, she's holding her cell phone and not a camera.
Yeah.
And that was my only issue with the entire book.
Yeah.
I agree.
Give me the camera, Joyce.
But
Mrs. Joyce.
okay, should we do fuck, marry, kill?
Yes.
Yes.
Who wants to go first?
I will.
Okay.
I want to fuck Theo and marry Theo. And I didn't really think that anybody was kill worthy, but probably his friends that like stabbed him in the back.
Yeah.
Such asshole. Like his dad sucked, but he probably didn't deserve to die.
Yeah.
So his friends.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to go or you want me to go?
You can go.
Okay. I said fuck Theo. Marry Thomas.
I almost said that.
I felt like he was very emotionally stable.
Mm-hmm.
And
He
gave
was such a
wonderful advice.
good person.
And he was very loving. Like when Sadie was gone, he would go be with his family because he was like lonely without her. I was like, yep.
I love that.
And then I said kill either Theo's dad or the finance company that came in to and wanted to kick out the package deal that Theo had made.
Makes it more budget friendly.
Yeah. I'd probably kill them.
I wish he could have got the name of his business back because that was like his business name.
He should have sued for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For me, I'm going to go F Theo, marry Theo, and kill Anthony. Mateus wasn't as bad, but Anthony was kind of the one that was doing the most. And then we forgot, remember we added the best friend?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to have Paul be my best friend.
Paul would be a good best friend.
Yeah.
I think I want Sadie to be my best friend.
I was going to say, I think Sadie would be my best
or
friend.
Thomas, maybe.
Or Thomas. If I marry Theo, then Thomas might be one of my best friends.
I have like 5, because I just got one more friend. 5 friends that are girls, but most of my friends are guys.
Really?
Yeah.
Most of all of my friends are girls.
Girls scare me because they're mean.
They are.
I get along with guys better.
Yeah, so do
generally speaking.
I just don't have a lot of guy friends. I want guy friends.
But sometimes I feel like sometimes it's confusing for the guys when I talk to them. Because there's this one guy at my work, he's a security guy, and I just talk to him like whenever we see each other. And I'm really awkward like when I get on an elevator and if someone's in there, I'm going to talk to you.
Oh, I won't. I will hide in my shell.
Oh, I'll talk.
Me too.
Because it's more awkward for me to stand in the tiny elevator together quietly than to just be like, how's it going?
I can do it both. I try to read it. I try to read the room. Like if you really don't want to talk, then no. Like sometimes we'll say, you know, what floor you're going on, and if we continue talking after that, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But then I usually have my AirPods in if I'm like out and about, so I don't have the urge to need to talk.
Yeah. Well, this one gentleman, I talked to him like because we see each other at like codes and stuff. But the other day he saw me in the cafeteria and he's like, "Hey, there's my favorite lifesaver."
Oh.
And I was like, "Don't talk to me like that." That's weird."
Oh, that's sweet though.
That was really cute.
I was like, "Hey, now I can't talk to you anymore."
Oh my god.
I thought we were bros. Why you gotta talk to me like that?
I know. I like sometimes I hear that like I'm just one of the guys, and at first I was offended, but now it's like they get along with me in such a normal, chill way. Like there's no expectation, but then they also come to me advice about girls, and so I'm like, cool. This is a good level for me to be on.
I also work with all women.
Oh, that sounds fucking awful.
I know.
Is
It
awful.
honestly, it's so hard to work with only women, so I'm glad I'm out of that.
Yeah, I'm in healthcare, so there's a lot of women, but thankfully, there's more men coming
Did you guys
into the
pick
healthcare.
a character out?
I did.
I just punched the table.
So for speed date,
Yes.
Theo, you guys are gonna. I'm gonna let you know. Adam's
if this
gonna know.
is Travis Kelce.
It's not Travis Kelce, but it is a football player. And if you dog on him,
Is it Jason?
no, if you dog on him, I'm gonna like be upset.
I probably will.
Derek Carr.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Because she talked about, I was confused. Sometimes she talked about his hair being darker.
Mm-hmm.
And then she talked about dark eyelashes.
It is dark.
And then she said his eyes were very blue.
Yeah, but then she said like he
They'd
just
go
had
dark.
specks of blue
But
with
I
like a
think-
gray.
Yeah.
He's Frank
But,
Sinatra.
Mm-hmm.
I
let me
love
show you
Frank
But then he
Derek
had
Carr.
like honey skin.
Oh my gosh, this
He
man.
just tans well.
Girl.
This is a
Dark
wish I did.
features, olive skin.
can't find
but
it. here it
I
is. This is a
I just thought maybe he had like darkish,
Give me a better picture than that.
I know, but that's to show
Body
his
type.
body.
dark
yeah.
blonde hair.
You want him with blonde hair?
That's what I pictured.
Oh, I know they definitely talked about dark.
Cause my Theo is this guy named Trevor Donovan, who
Trevor Donovan.
not now, but like 10 years ago when he was
Mhm.
still in the movies and stuff.
Ooh.
That's what I pictured.
Look at this handsome man.
This is him with scruff. Yeah, Derek
Ooh.
Carr's not a bad looking guy.
I love Derek Carr, and he's just a really good person. So that's one of my big things where I'm always like Derek Carr.
Mhm.
But did you guys pick a Noel?
I sure did.
I never pick anybody.
I did Florence Poe.
Florence Pugh.
Do you have a picture of her?
Yes.
Oh, she's good. I had a
I
hard time. I couldn't.
think
had a
that
really hard
she's the
time.
most, like, one of the most gorgeous people in
Yes,
the entire
she is
world.
gorgeous.
Do you guys watch Grey's Anatomy?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't in a long time.
Do you know who Joe is?
She's one of the sisters.
Joe Wilson? No.
Was she a sister?
Mm-mm.
I mean, I know. I would recognize. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she's pretty.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Her name is Camila Luddington.
Cabello.
She's she's Joe Wilson from Grey's Anatomy. And her personality in Grey's Anatomy, I felt like it really kind of
Matches.
Mhm.
matches with her because she is spunky and like feisty and all that stuff. So,
I love that.
did you pick anyone else?
I picked a Paul.
Ooh.
Okay, I got a Paul too.
Show me yours first because mine's not loading.
Mine was Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Isn't that good?
I kind of saw somebody similar to that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I picked Richard Gere.
Okay. I do feel like that.
I could. It just needs hit that hairline.
He needs hair.
Yeah.
If Sean Connery had hair on the top, it would be because they talked about Paul's hair like blowing in the wind.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Did you pick a Thomas?
I did not, but I imagine him to be like, he has like a full head of kind of curly hair, but I don't know.
I
I know
Zac
she didn't say
Efron,
that, but
This picture.
like a youngish
Mm-hmm.
Zach.
Yeah, before he broke his jaw and has a
Yeah.
big.
And then got all
Square.
weirdly buff.
Yeah. It was,
Well, I'm
it was
okay
a
with
lot all at
that,
once.
but-
I was like, bro, just chill out.
Do we have anyone else?
Nope, that was all I picked.
Okay. Smash or pass?
Smash.
Smash.
Smash, smash, smash,
5
smash,
out
smash.
of 5 stars.
Yes.
Love it.
100 out of 10 would read again.
Yes. So that leads us to our happily ever after.
Our
Which
happily ever
yours-
after is If I Can't Have You. And I believe it's by Charlotte Levin.
Yep. That is it.
This one is like a suspense.
I think it's like a
Obsession kind of.
we fall in love
Why
and you
so
decide you don't want to be with me, but
That's not an option.
that's not going to happen. You're going to be with me, or you're going to be with no one.
Are you gonna be in the grave?
You can be with God if you can't be with me.
You're going to be 6 feet under now, you hear?
I don't know how like aggressive the book gets. I'm hoping it's just like
Light aggression.
yeah.
I think I'm going to like it. I like all sorts of books.
I'm excited
I'm
for
a
this
little
one.
worried because it is out of my genre. I don't
Mhm.
normally
But
read
please
books like
read
this.
it.
I will.
It's like
Please
a
read it.
It's part of my job.
more
The
like
only
a
book I
thriller
ever
esque.
let you not read was the one that I read and said, don't worry about it.
I read most. No, that's not true. I read a little bit and I was like, damn, I can't read this book.
What book?
Love Your Life.
We're so sorry,
Oh, yeah. Sorry,
lady
girl.
friend.
But
Not a good
someone reached out to me and asked if we could try reading more books like the Witch's Guide.
Oh, yeah.
fantasy, more
yeah,
fantasy.
because
I'm all for
someone
that.
said you haven't read a book with a dragon in it, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, I'm all for dragons.
We'll get on that.
We
I'm
just
gonna do a
we just
little-
don't like the fan art sometimes. That
Oh, I do.
No,
Eat that
sometimes
shit
I
up.
have opened our Instagram and there's a big
Oh,
alien
it's
penis,
aggressive.
and I'm like,
sent
I'm
you
at
that
work.
one picture of the fan of a book that was like the milkman, something with like
yeah.
a big beast animal and then a maiden with him. I was like, what the hell?
yeah, it was a lot.
But no, if you want a good book that you need to read, is Love You From Afar by Morgan Page. We
Oh yeah,
did
yeah.
Ruled Out by her,
I'm in 3 chapters deep.
and I just finished Love You From Afar, and it is so freaking good.
I love her.
It's so
Love her.
good.
Big fan
so
of
so
hers.
so good.
Morgan, next time come with us on this trip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we want Morgan on the trip. We'll make cookies. But yeah, so you have to go read that book. It was so good. That's like I almost would call that 4 chili peppers.
Ooh,
Maybe even 5
Was it more or less than Rolled Out?
more.
Oh my.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was so good.
period.
So good. I loved all of it. But
Alrighty.
that's it for this episode.
That's it. If you want to follow us on our Instagram profiles, we have Lovers Library Pod or Lovers Library Book Club. If you want to join us on our Facebook book club, we are Lovers Library Book Club also on Facebook. We're very inclusive, anybody and everybody, except if you're like a Nubian, Nigerian prince that wants to
Mhm.
take all of our money, then we won't accept you. But if you have a profile, then we'll like accept you. Doesn't matter.
And be sure to keep an eye out for our giveaway that's happening.
Mhm. We're waiting for a few more things to come in, and we will be ready to post that. So be watching.
We also will have sweatshirts and stuff that we might start selling that has
Just trying
our
to figure out a
logo.
good way to do an order and whatnot
Mhm.
for it.
Yeah. So we've kind of have merch coming too.
Sweatshirts, t-shirts, stickers.
Like, subscribe, and rate us.
Yep.
Always, forever. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah. So we love you. We'll see you next time.
Happily ever after.
Bye.